But where I'm standing today is the graveyard. Some of these graves are over 3,000 years old.
Beneath the silence of Jerusalem, something ancient is stirring. A mountain of white limestone graves faces a gate sealed in fear. The Mount of Olives and the Eastern Gate stand like mirrors, prophecy and resistance, life and stone locked in an eternal stare. Between them lies the Kidron Valley, where prophets said the nations will gather for judgment. For centuries the gate has stayed closed, the dead unmoved. But now, new graves are creeping closer, one row at a time. Not by chance, not by man. The mountain is moving, and prophecy is beginning to breathe. All across the Mount of Olives, white stones shimmer beneath the sun, a city of the dead watching the city of the living. More than 150,000 graves cover its slopes, some older than empires, each carved toward Jerusalem's eastern wall. Rabbis call it the front line of resurrection. To be buried here is to wait closest to the promise that when the Messiah comes, the dead will rise first from this mountain. But what most don't notice is the movement. Each decade, new graves appear lower, closer to the valley floor, inching toward the ancient gate that faces them. The expansion isn't random. It's alignment, a silent formation unfolding with purpose. From above, it looks like the mountain itself is breathing, shifting forward. And somewhere between prophecy and geology, a countdown has begun. Over the past 50 years, the Mount's burial line has crept downhill, stone by stone, row by row, toward the Kidron Valley. Satellite images confirm it. Thousands of new tombs inch closer to the Eastern Gate than ever before. Land that once lay untouched now carries the names of the faithful, each grave perfectly turned toward that sealed doorway. This isn't an ordinary cemetery expansion. It's a slow march, the dead aligning with prophecy. Historians call it urban growth. The faithful call it divine preparation. Across the valley, the Eastern Gate stands silent, its entrance sealed with limestone blocks thicker than a man's arm. For centuries, it has faced this advancing mountain like an unblinking eye. And as the graves draw nearer, the distance between the living and eternal continues to close. The stones are moving, but what are they waiting for?
Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more awe-inspiring stories of faith, survival, and miracles.
500 years ago, a ruler sealed a prophecy in stone. In 1541, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent ordered the Eastern Gate to be closed, the only gate in Jerusalem that opens directly toward the Mount of Olives. He'd heard the whispers that a Jewish Messiah would one day enter through that very passage. So he sealed it shut. To make certain, he built a Muslim cemetery at its feet, believing no holy man would dare cross the defilement of graves. But prophecy doesn't bow to superstition. Ezekiel wrote that the gate would remain sealed until the prince enters through it. And now, from across the valley, the dead are closing in, thousands of graves facing that same sealed wall, forming a path the living cannot see. The Sultan thought he stopped a prophecy. What if, unknowingly, he marked the starting point of its countdown? From above, the Mount of Olives and the Eastern Gate align with mathematical precision, a perfect line from the ridge of the mountain across the Kidron Valley, through the sealed gate, and straight into the Temple Mount where the Holy of Holies once stood. It's not coincidence, it's design. In ancient times, kings and priests walked this path during sacred processions. It was the route of glory, the entrance of the divine into the heart of the city. Ezekiel saw it in a vision. The glory of the Lord entered by the gate facing east. Now the same alignment is reawakening, not with kings or priests, but with the dead. Each new grave faces that sealed doorway, perfectly oriented toward the temple's invisible axis. The pattern is too exact, too deliberate. It's as if prophecy itself is mapping its return, one grave at a time.
Beneath the Mount of Olives lies a network of ancient tunnels, forgotten passageways carved long before the city's walls were built. Archaeologists have traced some of them toward the Temple Mount, linking old burial chambers and priestly routes. Others descend deeper, sealed off by centuries of stone and silence. Rabbis once taught that when the resurrection begins, the righteous buried far away will roll underground through these hidden tunnels to rise first on this mountain. Science calls it folklore. Faith calls it foresight. Even more unsettling, a fault line runs directly beneath this ridge, the same fracture mentioned by the prophet Zechariah. And his feet shall stand on the Mount of Olives, and the mountain shall split in two. The ground beneath isn't still, it's waiting. And one day, that waiting will break. On one side of the valley, the Jewish graves advance toward the eastern gate. Silent faces turn toward a promise. On the other side, Muslim graves guard the entrance, laid there to block that very promise from being fulfilled. Two faiths, two destinies, divided by a wall, yet bound to the same prophecy. The Muslims buried their dead there, believing a holy man would never cross a cemetery. The Jews buried theirs, believing the Messiah would appear right across from it. Neither side realized they were building the same stage. Now the two cemeteries face each other across the Kidron Valley like opposing armies, one waiting to meet the king, the other trying to stop him. But prophecy isn't a negotiation. Every new burial, every inch of land is another movement in a script written long before either side began digging. Beneath the surface, Jerusalem hides another world. Archaeologists speak of sealed tunnels winding under the Mount of Olives, corridors linking ancient tombs, priestly routes, and forgotten chambers. Some believe they stretch toward the Temple Mount itself, forming unseen arteries beneath prophecy's skin. Each tunnel seems to echo a story older than stone, of souls returning, of footsteps yet to rise. If the dead will roll through the earth to stand again on this mountain, perhaps these tunnels are the rehearsal halls of resurrection. Even the soil seems restless, like breath trapped under rock. And if prophecy truly moves through time, maybe it's already traveling through these passages, preparing the ground for the moment heaven touches earth.
Modern maps reveal what prophecy once whispered. The Mount of Olives cemetery now spreads faster than ever. Thousands of new graves each decade, pressing toward the eastern gate like a slow-moving tide. City planners call it expansion. Believers call it alignment. Soon, only a narrow strip of land will separate the dead from the ancient wall. And beyond that wall lies the sealed gate, the one no hand dares to open. Authorities refuse excavation near it. Religious factions argue over who controls the ground beneath. But prophecy ignores boundaries. Every new burial closes the gap between expectation and fulfillment. And when the mountain finally meets the gate, silence itself may split, just as the prophets foretold. 2,000 years ago, from this same mountain, Jesus ascended into heaven. Acts says he will return the same way. Zechariah adds that when his feet touch the mount, it will split in two, a valley forming beneath him. Now those graves wait directly above that fault line, every stone facing the sealed gate as if awaiting command. From the air, it looks like an army frozen in formation, eyes fixed on the wall of prophecy. If alignment is destiny, then the map is almost complete. The mountain, the valley, the gate, all waiting for one step to awaken it. The eastern gate remains sealed, its stones untouched since the day fear closed them. Yet across the valley, the Mount of Olives keeps advancing, one grave at a time, one prophecy nearer. Psalm 24 whispers, "Lift up your heads, O ye gates, that the King of glory may come in." Perhaps these stones are listening. Perhaps that verse was never poetry, but a command, waiting for its hour. The graves are in position. The line is complete. And somewhere beneath Jerusalem's silence, the earth holds its breath, waiting for the sound that breaks the stone.